Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel for today's video. Guys, we are going to be talking about how things are always changing in bass fishing, how bass are always changing, how every single month of the year there's a transition, and they behave differently, and they act differently, and they prefer different lures. So we're going to dig into that today's video and hopefully give you guys a better understanding about bass behavior, because one of the things that I try to stress on my videos out here is that, you know, if you really want to take like big leaps in your success, where you're noticing a consistent increase in your good days over your bad days, you have got to put your focus on the stuff that I'm talking about today, the things about bass movement, behavior, and their habits, and understanding the bass as a creature. Because if you just spend all your time on lures and, you know, the best colors and some new bait that comes out there, you're not going to have an incremental, consistent increase in your bass fishing success. I know it's easy not to do, or it's hard to concentrate on the things like I'm talking about today, because it's almost like going to school, like you're studying in class or something. But if you do want to see an increase in the success, if you really follow and pay attention to some of the things I'm talking about today, it's really going to help you out. Also, guys, thank you very much, man, for everybody that's taking the time to subscribe here to Advanced Bass Fishing. Really appreciate that, guys. And also really appreciate everybody that's been using all the links I put in every video description. I know you guys probably get tired of hearing me say it every video, but seriously, guys, if you know, part of you guys weren't using those links in the video description, it wouldn't be worth my time to do the YouTube video. So if you like the content, you know, using those links in the description to get your tackle and stuff is a good way to help the channel, and we really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things I was thinking about today, guys, it's so freaking hot here in Missouri right now. We have had excessive heat warnings for over a week. The last month here, we had the hottest July on record that was ever recorded. Back since they started recording back in the 1800s, it's been brutally hot. And you're going to notice a transition, even if it's slow. Every single season has a transition in temperatures, and more importantly, the length of the daylight hours. Now, when you're talking about bass doing different stuff, a lot of people equate, you know, bass changing with water temperatures, and they do to a large degree, but more importantly is every single day of the year, the days are getting slightly longer or slightly shorter. And it's my theory, in my opinion, and my observation in studying bass forever, that this is the thing that creates changes in a bass, even more than water temperature. So it's something that's just a cycle. It goes on every single year consistently. Now, some years there's other factors that contribute to it, like water levels and, you know, environmental factors, short-term weather patterns. But overall, it's the length of those daylight hours that really affect it. Okay, now what you're going to notice, I don't want to break down like every single season, because that'd take all day long to talk about. But what I really want you guys to concentrate on is every single month of the year, the bass are going to be behaving a little bit differently. And let me just sort of run through briefly what I'm talking about. It's like in the summertime of the year, like in, you know, say for example, like in June, you still have some stragglers from the fish spawning. The bass are in an early summer pattern, a late post-spawn pattern, and the fish are doing a lot of different stuff. You may even still have some fish spawning in June, depending upon where you're at in the part of the country, and you may have some fish out in deep water at the same time. And then as you get like into July and August that we have right now, other factors come into play, like you have a thermocline starts to form on your lake where you don't have oxygen, you know, down very good, you know, below about 30 foot. So you have a situation where the bass start to scatter out and they start to suspend more, and that becomes a predominant, you know, sort of that becomes the predominant, you know, reality during the summertime of the year. And then as the summer slowly starts to fade away and your nighttime start to get cooler, gradually that thermocline starts to dissipate. And once that thermocline starts to dissipate, the bass can once again return to going as deep as they want to. They can go 40, 50, 60, 70 foot deep and get on the bottom, since the thermocline does not exist anymore. So you have that factor. And then you have the factor of the correlating, you know, weather pattern changes, the wind, the water clarity, all that stuff comes into play. And then like you get into the winter months, like December and January, February, those are some of the shortest daylight hours of the year. the water temperatures are at their coldest, the metabolism of the fish is at their slowest, and that is another scenario. And then the cycle starts up in the springtime of year. It starts to warm up, the daylight hours start increasing, the fish start to move shallow, they start focusing on finding areas to bed, bedding, taking care of their fry, reproducing. That goes on for 2 or 3 months during that phase. And then the whole cycle repeats again as far as the recuperation process, and the cycle continues with it. Now, if you understand these cycles and you can identify them based upon the time of the year, that gives you a really good indication, like on the areas that you need to fish and the technique that you need to fish. And every single lake's different. Every single lake in the country, based upon where you're situated geographically, are going to have those things take place at a different time. And they're going to affect the lake differently in terms of like the type of bass you have in a lake. If you got a mix of largemouth, spotted bass, smallmouth, if you have just one predominant species, the water clarity, if it's a tide water or not, the predominant cover in a lake, all those factors weigh into it. So every single lake in the country is going to be unique to itself in the individual characteristics within that lake. But nevertheless, they all go through it. Now, based upon where you're at in the country, you may have a little bit more radical seasonal changes. Like in my part of the country here, we have some of the most radical seasonal changes of anywhere in the country. We can have 95-degree water temperature in the summertime, and in our lakes in the wintertime can get froze solid over and everything in between. Our lakes can fluctuate anywhere between, up to 30 foot as far as the lakes rising and falling. So we have a lot of radical changes. But if you fish in Florida, you don't have that. Your lake levels are natural. They don't fluctuate that much. Your temperature variations are not that radical. You don't have real distinct seasons. So every part of the country sort of falls somewhere in between those two. So the main point of this video, guys, I don't have a really specific thing that I want to point out to you. I just want to reiterate how important it is to study bass movement behavior and be aware of these seasonal changes, because again, the more adept and the more skillful you are at adapting to those changes, you're going to be able to consistently catch fish 12 months out of the year if you follow that. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.